really late.
Black. Lot of shit a nigga facing. I'm just tryna find my placement. Tired of people treat me like I'm basic. I been really aching. Every day I'm paper chasing. I can't let a nigga take it. I'm just tryna make it out now. I'm just tryna make it out now. Lot of shit been on my mind. Like instead of wasting time, might as well get on my grind. I be dolo when I'm slime. Cause I get caught up in that fight, ain't nobody gon' do my time. They don't wanna really see a nigga shining. You can really see the envy in their eyes, man. Seen it in my nigga and it caught me by surprise. I'm a different breed and I ain't fucking with his kind. Thinking about my granny, know she see a nigga trying. But every time I fail, it just feel like a nigga dying. I tried to hit my...
What's up, TBT land? Class is in session. Time to take roll. Cold shell, please L. Please answer present or here.
Present.
B Mobile.
Present, teacher.
Guard Barber.
Here.
Real deal. That bomb ain't here. B, that bomb ain't here today. We get the show out.
Actually, he got us in his hands because he doing the control. So
B, he gonna have to cut me out.
He gonna
have to cut me out.
That's why he wanted to.
Just like that. You know what?
That's why he wanted to do.
You might be right.
Boy, he's joking.
You might be right, B.
Yeah.
Real say he want to be behind the scenes today.
Yeah, so he can control us.
Yeah.
That's all he like to do is type mouth up.
He want to play with the computer, man. He done learn some tricks with that computer, so he want to see how this thing go.
Hey.
See how this thing go.
You owe me some time. This is the third week. I don't know what y'all bums got going on with your production, but it's the third week now. We trying this again.
Trying it again, man.
Huh?
I think we got it this time.
Hey, I'm going wild with the shout outs. It don't matter to me. Every time somebody mentions shout out, I'm gonna give a shout out. Speaking of shout outs, how about shout out to Big Window?
Is he woke?
I gotta give him a shout out, man, for trying to make it happen behind the scenes, man. Y'all bums in this production that's going on. We gonna make it though. What the intro say?
We just trying to make it out.
Just trying to make it out. We appreciate TBTers for being patient and rolling with us. Cold Shell, what's up?
What's going on, POP?
Oh man. I'm just trying to make it out.
You made it already.
Sing it.
Shh.
You made it already.
Please.
You did.
Sing it.
You made it already. You made it here. You made the Publix, and you made it here.
What do you got from Publix, eh?
I ain't the one to gossip.
She asked me so much.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
When I asked him, he rolled his eyes at me.
Did he go get some chicken?
Look
All
here,
I
man.
know
Some
is
Hawaiian rolls?
All I know is it involved him running from the police.
This will be a good time to tell y'all to make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, follow us, whatever the lingo. Please support TBT.
I'm gonna get pulled over for something he did.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, he was in your car.
Your car was identified at Publix.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
That's why I asked T Green because he wouldn't tell me. I was like, "What you got to go to Publix for?" He said,
No.
"Yeah, the roll eyes emoji." You got an iPhone? Don't you got an iPhone?
Oh, yeah.
That roll eye emoji.
But look here.
Eye emoji well.
Let's get into these guests.
Yeah.
But before I introduce them, I want to explain to you guys how this orchestrated. Because initially, now y'all, anybody in the room, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Initially, we had Smith, the incomparable Charles B. Smith, running for commissioner, county commissioner seat, District 2, and Harold Byrd running for District 2 school board seat. Reached out to TBT on a platform. right? All right, so we came the first week, all right, season opener, premiere. All right, we had some technical difficulties. All right, so we decided to run the show back the following week. Okay, and so with that being said, in between time, we got some feedback. I wouldn't say backlash. I say we got some feedback that stated, you know, in fairness, you know, why don't you guys invite the other candidates and give them opportunity? And initially, my boy, you know, he didn't want to get into political game, and I feel him on that. But we talked about it, right? Because we vote as a group, right? And we decided, you know, so that we done, you know, we claim to be a TBT, a neutral platform. So we figure, hey, we'll give, without trying to turn this into a political thing, we'll invite other guests. So what we didn't want to do is turn it into a debate, all right? We didn't want two candidates fighting for the same position on at the same time. We didn't want to get into that. So what we agreed upon was for 3 weeks, starting last week, we're going to go with a school board seat candidate and a commissioner seat candidate, all right, which is obviously Byrd and Smith. So we reached out to the candidates, and what we wanted was Miss Susan Arguso running for school board, right, this week, and we invited Reggie Bellamy, okay, to represent for the commissioner. And then on the following week, next week, the 15th, we reached out to Cindy Spray, who's another candidate for school board, and we reached out to Amanda Ballard regarding the commissioner, District 2 spot. So long story short, all right, for those who, you know, why so-and-so and this, that, da-da-da-da, here's the realer, okay? Cindy Spray has not responded to POP, all right? And she has the right to do that. Miss Cindy, I ain't mad at you. Bellamy, I'm not even gonna do it, because I would, he gave me a political statement.
You gonna do it?
No, I gotta let the people know, because people be chiming why you didn't do this and do that, so I'm gonna keep it realer with you.
Well, then bring him on the show.
I'ma keep it realer with you.
So hey, this truth be told, right?
So truth be told, I got a text 24 hours later after I requested, plus 24 plus.
So start with greetings.
Greetings. Thank you for reaching out as it relates to appearing on your Truth Be Told Facebook broadcast. We are thankful for having received an invitation as the incumbent candidate. After first hearing about your first two shows, while we would very much appreciate the opportunity, as a campaign team, once we got within 25 days of the election, we began to laser focus on the grassroots portion of our campaign. As I'm sure you are aware, all campaigns are complicated and strategic. There are very specific tasks that we have at this critical time that requires detail, attention, and a great deal of time. We appreciate your understanding as we attempt to execute a strategic and successful campaign and continue to work for the residents of Manatee County District 2. Yours in service.
Did he ever say if he was yes or no?
Copy and paste.
Copy.
I don't want to be rude, but I think this is grassroots.
Oh, she just diving out. Well,
We ain't even introduced her yet.
That sound cackalacky.
boy, she went in.
South Kakalaki.
You ready for the introduction?
Hey.
Well, she ready.
She said skip all introductions.
Yeah.
And I had a nice one. I was going to throw an alley-oop.
You can give me a lovely introduction. I'm ready for it.
Just bounce it off the bite board at this point.
Well, I was gonna tell my Fuzzy Rogers story, but it would. Hey, hell. All right, we got Susan Arguso running for school board seat, District 2.
Yes, I am.
And we have Amanda Ballard.
Amanda.
We'll get him a round of applause for coming to the.
Thank you all for
Truth Be
coming.
Told
Thank you
podcast.
all. Thank you.
You got one job, and that's to spell Miss Susan's name right. You got one job. All right, Miss Susan, Miss Amanda, here's your opportunity to tell the TBT viewers who the hell you are and why the hell you on TBT.
I love it. Do you want to start or do you want me to?
By all means.
Okay. So my name's Amanda Ballard. I am an attorney here in town. I work in the child welfare world, and I've been doing that for my entire career here in Manatee County. I'm married. I have 2 little girls, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old.
God bless you.
And yeah, so I'm busy. I'm very, very
Yes,
busy.
you are.
So I'm a lawyer full time. I'm running this campaign full time, and I'm a wife and mom full time. So I'm busy every second of every day. But doing the work that I've done, I've seen everything negative that people in Manatee County are struggling with. The opiate crisis. I've seen the housing crisis up close. I've seen parents who have done everything the state asked them to do to get their kids back, and then they're sitting 3 months, 6 months, or more waiting because they don't have a safe place to live. And so seeing those things started to galvanize me, and I started to say, all right, I can only do so much being a lawyer on the side that I'm on. If I actually want to make a difference in the community, I need to do it from the policy side. And so that's when I decided to run for county commission.
Okay.
Okay, I'm running for the school board, in part because of Amanda's 2 children and all of your kids. I've been in education for 40 years. I've been here for 6.5 years. I've been on the audit committee here, so but I was a teacher for 11 years. I was a superintendent for 8 years. I understand the challenges that this school district faces, especially in District 2, because I ran a school system just like this. And after 40 years of hearing the same stuff all the time, talk, it is time for us to do what needs to be done so the kids in District 2 get a really great education. And that's what I'm about. I understand it. I know it can be done because I've worked in several districts where we did it. And so that's what I want to bring to the children here. And I want to do it from the policy side because I think I can help the school board really understand their job and understand the job of a superintendent and get the school system working the way it is supposed to.
With that being said, Ms. Susan, do you think, I don't know how to even ask the other members of the school board, how can they get on that same path or same mindset that you're on? Because it seems like our school board system is like they're not trustworthy.
Well, that's a part we have to all work on, is to make sure that we do what we say we're going to do. And if for some reason we have to change our mind, we better be really good and careful about the explanation and the reasoning for doing that. What I would say to you is I think they all mean well. I think they just don't have the experience or the understanding of what needs to happen to make the school system better. I heard one of the board members say, we have so many priorities. Every day there's a different priority. And my response to that is absolutely no. You have one priority, and that is to have a safe school for every single child where they can get an excellent education. That's the priority. Everything else supports that happening. And so I think from my experiences, and I am a teacher at heart, I can help them understand, okay, so the law says this. Well, how do we make the law work for us? System focus on the extra help, the extra time, the extra support that children need in a school if they're struggling. How do we make sure every single child in every school has the same opportunities so that they don't have to travel across county to take a particular program, but we can do one closer to their school? There are ways to do that. I mean, at one point in my career, I actually figured out how the buses had to run so we could get all the kids to school on time. And just figured out simple solutions of, hey, if we change that schedule by 7 minutes, we can do this with our bus system, which makes it faster, more efficient, and gets more of our kids there without delay. So things like that I've done, I can share with folks to say, have you tried this? Have you considered this? And I think one of the biggest things is when I sit in a school board meeting, there are so many times I want to stand up and say, ask this question, and you would have the information. I know what questions to ask. I also know the jargon, so nobody's sneaking anything past me. I will know when they're trying to snow people or trying to not answer the question or not tell you everything.
But I think that's I think a lot of them might know that, and they still just kind of just do their own thing, or hey, how you gonna vote? Okay, I'm gonna vote your way. You know, I don't like, I have no faith in our school board.
Well,
None.
I'm hoping I can restore your faith by doing what I just said.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't ask people how they're going to vote. I vote my heart and my belief about children, and that's my only focus. I will take in all the information. I listen to everybody from every side and try to figure out what's the best solution here for our kids. I'm a pretty good talker, and I will try to persuade people by giving them information that is accurate and correct, and I can really delve down into what's happening in the schools because I know it. I've done it. I've been part of that culture, so I can make sure it works for kids here. So part of it's trust, because you've never seen me do this, but
Yeah.
part of it is my belief that if I can get people educated about this and get other school board members believing that this can be done, and part of it is they have to believe that we can make it work for kids, and that's what I will do.
Because sometimes it's hard. Well, speaking from the urban core of District 2, we feel like education-wise, we're always the experiments.
That's right.
You know, we feel like we've always been the one that experimented on. We get bused out of our neighborhoods to the suburbs. That's a lot of complaints that I hear, you know, from the community.
Yeah, I hear them also.
Yeah, and then we also feel like for years that we've been second fiddle when it come down to school material. You know, I hear kids in neighborhood, parents in neighborhood feel like we get secondhand education. You know, this school in the suburbs got better teachers in the school in the urban core.
Right.
So it's hard. It's hard for the urban core people to trust the school board because we feel like we've been experimented on for so long. So I hear what you're saying, Susan, and it's good to hear what you're saying, but you still got to get the school board behind you.
And-
You know, I know it's going to take more than you, but
Well, we
hear
start.
so much. We hear so much all the time. We always hear it's going to get better. It's going to get better. This and that, but it seems like nothing is done.
It's not
Even
going
like
to.
in the urban core, even our reading levels are down.
They are.
What are some of the things you're gonna do
Yeah.
to help us get those reading levels up?
And it's not going to get better. We have to make it better. And you're right. We bust the kids out of the urban core. It's hard to get teachers to come into this area and stay here. Some of it's housing, some of it's the travel, some of it's the schools really need a lot of support that we don't have there right now. And resources are a challenge because, you know, when you're in a more affluent community, the parents chip in a whole lot of stuff, and there's within the urban core and provide those same kind of resources and additions that children in other parts of our city are getting. We know how to teach reading, and
Yeah.
we know what we have to do as a community to get every child to read on grade level, and it can't start at school. It has to start when they are first born. We have to get all the social services. You know, they've started this at Manatee, and we have to expand this. But we've got to get all our social services, and I'm sure Amanda knows a lot of this also from her work. We have to get the health services all working together to help parents so that they can begin that early literacy that children need. And we have to build on that in our pre-Ks and our all of our schooling that children have, daycares before they get to the schools. And in school, kids have to have it from K-12. You don't get a kid on grade level and then forget about them. We have to build this in as this is who we are. We read, we write, we do speaking really well, focused from kindergarten all the way through graduation in every classroom. I did this in my physics class. My kids had to write properly in physics because if they can't express themselves in the science class and they go off to be scientists, they're not going to get anywhere. So we know how to do this. I've done it. The school district I ran when I became a superintendent had children who were all from Title I schools. All of the schools were on what we would call the D list here. The day I walked in the door, we started looking at the money because we were $3.8 million short. So we had to figure out where the money was. We had principals in the wrong buildings. We had discipline was out of control. We immediately got everybody to work, and I've got all the staff saying, I don't care what you heard before. This is what we will do. I put the right principals in the right buildings. We concentrated on getting discipline under control so our kids could learn. We focused on our reading program, and in 2 years, our scores went up 9 points. Now, that got them to 66% proficient, which is almost double what we have for some of our kids here. That was just in 2 years. And you know, the first year you do all the work to get it started. But we had a lot more work to do, but we got started, we got it going, and you just keep it going. Charlotte Mecklenburg 20 years ago did exactly what you're talking about today. So I know it can happen. It requires a lot of talking, a lot of teaching, and we just got to get people to believe it can happen and do it. And we really have to get into our budget to make sure we know where every single dime is going so we can direct it to every single classroom, especially in District 2.
I ain't gonna lie though. A lot of times we like to put everything on like the school board and teachers and stuff. But as Black people or Black parents, we have to start taking accountability for our kids as well. Like, teaching starts at home as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't expect our kids to just go to school, the teachers teach them everything, as well as they got 25 other kids that they're teaching as well. So many different personalities in the classroom, so many interruptions in the classroom. You know what I'm saying? But when the kids come home and they have homework, you're not making sure they're doing it. You're not making sure they're doing their hour of reading. I'm guilty of it. I may tell AJ to go read, but I don't go check to see if he's reading. I don't say, hey, tell me what you read. You know what I'm saying? So we still have to take accountability, like, and do homework with our kids. We have to make sure that our kids are reading in order for them to be on the level that they're supposed to be on. Let's face it, teachers can only do so much. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to take a village. So we don't have the Black parents coming to no PTA meetings. I just went to meet the teacher Friday morning. I can count on one hand how many Black parents were there. You know what I'm saying? We don't really have Black parents coming to the schools, you know, like volunteering and stuff like that. But we be at those football games, you know, we be at these basketball games, you know, doing team mom, working these concession stands, working these gates. But when it come to being in these district meetings and trying to figure out what more we could do, you know, because like they said, they do still need, you know, they need help, so they need the parents to be behind them in what they're doing. And if we're not behind them in our own child's education, why you want somebody else to be more about your child education? You should be more into it than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? You should want it more than anybody else. These kids be on TikTok at 3 years old. They know these dances. They know these words. They know these songs word for word. Like them old folk used to say, I hope you know your school word like you know them songs. Because we had to know.
If we could get more parents like you talking about that and helping people understand it. You said one of the key words to education, come to school. We have to get the kids to come every single day.
Gotta come to school.
One of the things I want to do is even make the year longer if we can. If we can get, there are some ways to get some funding to do that.
Be late.
So that kids who need extra help get that extra couple of weeks in the summer to really build their skills. Yeah. But you're right. We have to get the entire.
You gotta have everybody.
You
gotta have everybody.
County's goal to help every child learn, and we get all the parents
volunteers,
involved with us. You got
all that homework, all that discipline.
I don't think
they don't want you saying nothing to their children.
I think you can get a lot of parents on board if they trusted the school.
That's right. Exactly.
You're
system
absolutely
here. They
right.
trusted the school board here.
Yes.
That's the whole issue.
Yes.
I don't think it's the parents not.
They
being
still gotta
involved.
do, though.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
still
sis.
take
I'm not
actions.
disagreeing with you, but what I'm saying is, it's just District 2 parents don't have the trust in the school board because you get those ones that they run for office. Oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Then when they get the seat, it's forget y'all. I got my seat. I'm getting paid. What you voting on? Okay, I'm gonna vote how you vote. They not going with their gut feeling or going with their heart or going with what's right. They just going with the majority.
I am not looking for a job.
Oh no,
I don't even-
not you. Not
no,
not
but
you,
seriously,
sis.
I'm not a political person, not trying to push a party agenda. What you are saying is right. So, and I understand this. This is, for me, when I get elected, it's hit the ground running and take care of business and get people starting to believe again that we can educate their children. And as we start showing some of those successes in the inner core part of our city, you will see more and more parents start to believe. We start a movement. It literally is. But we have to start it now. We've talked too much. We've got to do it now.
And you know what? You know what's another issue too in the urban core? Like Cola Cole was saying, parents need to get more involved, and you were saying students need to come to school. But you know, some of these parents in the urban core are single parent homes.
I know.
Okay, some of these parents got to go to work 5, 6 in the morning,
That's right.
and they leave home. They elementary kids or middle school kids, and they have to walk a mile. Some of them have to walk longer than a mile to get to school. So, is that one of the things that you can talk about and try to change? Because I think that's a long walk.
But
for
that's
a
what we
kid.
got to be at with as parents too, and ask for help.
Yeah.
A lot of us parents, because I've been guilty of it, you have your pride and you be like, I ain't asking nobody to do nothing. You know, I ain't finna ask my auntie, or I ain't finna ask my uncle, I ain't finna ask this person. I'm finna do what I gotta do for my own child and this and that and the other. So sometimes we have to ask for help. So if we know we gotta be, I've actually had to change jobs or switch my schedule around, or when I go to an interview, listen, I don't really have help like that. So my son's school started at 8:15. Is it okay if I get here at 8:30?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I've had to do these type of things to adjust because I decided to have a child.
Yeah.
He or she didn't ask to be here. So therefore I had to adjust my work schedule or my life schedule to make sure my kid can get to and from school. I applied this for Pinellas County now, because that's where I'm from. So I applied for the free funding and stuff for before and after school care. You know what I'm saying? Or I may go to, hey, if I drop him off, can you make sure he get to school? Or can he this or that? You know, you have to ask, because again, it takes a village to raise children. If you don't have that village already because you moved from a state or you're not from here, guess what? You can create one. You can make one. You can go to the school. You can get the resources. The resources are there. It's so many resources out there that I just learned about via COVID, because we don't know. We don't ask. We don't really get involved. We don't really go down to the meetings. We don't really, they send all that stuff home. We don't read that. I don't.
And that's a wonderful answer. I think that's exactly, we have to get people to ask. We have to make sure the resources are there. And that's some of the supports we need to build for kids. If we see a kid who's not coming to school because it's a mile walk, we got to figure out a solution for that.
Raining and it's cold.
Exactly.
Yeah, you gotta ask.
Yeah,
So
some
we
of
have,
them can get like
we have
that.
lots
You
to
gotta
work on,
ask.
but they all
It's
have
tough.
solutions. It's going to take a while just to get everybody, but we will. And we start from
Yeah.
day one, and we just keep working it until we've got it right.
You'll never know who will help you. I've actually had a teacher that used to bring my child home for me. Like, you never know who will help you. But like the old saying says, closed mouths don't get fed.
Yeah.
So if you're
right.
not
Yes.
opening your mouth, not only are you not getting fed, your child is not getting fed. Now your child is deprived of not getting fed. Education is free, you know, if you do whatever it is you need to do for your child at home and stuff like that. But you just have to ask. These kids did not ask to be here.
Well, we appreciate that, Coley Cole. In fact, hell, I guess I got to make a memo to myself to sign up for the site committee.
Oh, yes, definitely.
PTO.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna. I'm getting ready to put the readers on, and this is a semi-long paragraph alert. If you don't like it, close your eyes, change the channel. I don't know. So I want to say this too, and this is gonna go to both Susan and Miss Amanda. Rodney Jones. All right. Quite sure you've heard of him. He's an activist, and shout out to Rodney Jones. And I gotta respect him. I mean, he works hard. He does his research. Very intelligent guy. I'm gonna say most. Some people may not agree at his delivery, but you know, there's a method to his madness. So I want to read this, and I want y'all to tell me what y'all think of this. All right, this is an email, and it stated, "I hope this communication," and actually emailed to some big wigs, starting with Governor DeSantis on down. I hope this communication finds you and yours well. This updated complaint, including a signed criminal affidavit from then School District of Manatee County Chair and current board member Charlie Kennedy, states the School District of Manatee County and the City of Palmetto engaged in fraud, corruption, and conspiracy pursuant to FDLE Investigative Report FM 73-1000-1R1R. My complaint on behalf of the black community in Manatee alleged that City of Palmetto Utility Supervisor Ms. Patrick, under the direction of City of Palmetto Mayor Shirley Groover, created a fraudulent water shutoff notice for Lincoln Memorial Academy. Though Ms. Patrick denied knowing anything about the document, a public record request of over 3,000 emails between City of Palmetto and School District of Manatee County yielded evidence of corruption. Not only did Ms. Patrick know about the document, but she created it. Ms. Patrick was also the person who emailed the fraudulent documents to the SDMC, namely Superintendent Cynthia Saunders, the day before the fraudulent documents were used as fact by then School District of Manatee County Scott Hopes to justify an illegal termination of LMA's contract. Specifically, at the City of Palmetto, Mayor Shirley Groover, City of Palmetto Municipal Attorney Mark Barnaby, and COP, City of Palmetto Utility Supervisor Lena Patrick, co-conspirators at the School District of Manatee County, and our Superintendent Saunders, General Counsel Mitchell Teitelbaum, Charlie Kennedy, and I'm getting to the bottom of it. Charlie Kennedy has relayed to the community that Scott Hopes was the ringleader of the corruption and conspiracy ring. Scott Hopes is now our Manatee County administrator and is now under severe community scrutiny for misconduct in his new position at MCG, that's Manatee County Government. We have additional complaints that will be forwarded to you, reference Scott Hopes. The statements by the School District of Manatee County board members are in direct contradictions to the findings by the FDLE Special Agent Sarney from the Sarasota office of FDLE. FDLE must understand that a no response to serious allegations of corruption by elected officials, public staff, and law enforcement represent the most perverse of offenses. Ignoring the issues only excavate them, not remedy them. The issues are now growing into a national media scandal. How shall FDLA be represented as a department under current Governor DeSantis? Commissioner Glass, you have all know that corruption only flourishes in, I can't make that out. Once the seal is broken and the corruption is exposed, it is just a matter of time before those involved are brought to justice. I just want to know because there's a lot of, like B Mobile mentioned earlier, there's a lot of distrust. Oh, yeah. Not only in the school board, but in the I guess the county commissioner office as well, or Manatee County governor, so to speak. And it's stuff like the LMA, deal that's mentioned. It's stuff like the graduation and inflation scandal. It's I've seen on video where at a board meeting, at the commissioner's city council meeting or what have you, had one of the board members stuff or what have you. So I just want to know, first of all, are you guys aware of these accusations, allegations? Are you aware of Rodney Jones and the concerned citizens of Manatee County? I just want to know, what are your thoughts on that, and what are your plans as far as actions moving forward?
Do you want to start with me? Okay. I am very much aware of these. And I want to start from the beginning, though, about LMA. And the first thing I want to say to you is the school should never have been shut down. The board and the school district acted too quickly. I think the board took action having too little information and virtually no public conversation. Had I been on the board at the time, I would not have voted to close that school. That was a mistake. I actually talked to Ed Hunley this morning about this again. We had talked long time ago before it happened to the school. But I have talked with others since. I have seen Rodney repeatedly come to board meetings to try and make the case that this needs to be looked at. And I hope that we can get some investigation and some closure to exactly what has happened here. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of misinformation. And I have some information. People sent me some. Ed sent me some today. I've gotten information from others who are concerned about what's happened, and it's trying to sort all of that and get all the pieces and parts, and let's have a definitive say what happened, who's responsible, and take care of it, make people accountable.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. The big thing is they have to be accountable. We have to take care of our kids, and this shouldn't have happened, and now we have to answer for how did it happen.
And I'm glad you took first stab at that, because, and this is, you got to understand, truth be told, our platform is getting bigger. And I often tell the guys and gals that we now have a responsibility. We have the community reach out. I'm hearing, man, Susan Arguso, you got to listen to her. She had a powerful statement regarding LMA. I think something along the natures of, it was something that was created by the people for the people, and then to have that taken away was wrong. So I'm hearing that. But then I hear somebody say that she was against LMA. So, but you're
And
here
that's
on
not
the
true.
record. You're here on the record to state.
It is not true, and I don't know where that came from or who misunderstood or misinterpreted something. I have never been against LMA. When this first happened, I was at the board meeting where this happened, and I was as shocked as everybody else. That
So
all
you were
of
at the
a
infamous
sudden-
takeover.
Oh yeah,
The night of the takeover.
I couldn't believe that was happening. It was,
it was a
supposed to
movie.
be a discussion.
It was a movie.
It was, and I was shocked that it happened. I had spoken with a couple of board members about it before and since, and I have never been supportive of it happening. I have, on occasion, said to people, the information that we have, and I know we don't have all the information, but the information that I have tells me that maybe there were some things that needed to be taken care of or addressed at LMA. And as I learn more, I wonder just how many of those really were true and weren't. But there has never, ever been presented to me any kind of evidence that would say the board should have taken that action. If there were issues there, they should have been addressed. They should have been talking, the school district should have been talking with the people at LMA and fixing them. Those are all, everything they've raised were all fixable issues if in fact they had to be fixed at all.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think that's where a lot of the distrust come in at also, because I was an employee at LMA myself.
Yes, I know that.
And the things that Mr. Ed, Mr. Hunley, and the staff had in place there, Dr. Scott, Mr. Jackson, the things that they had in place at that school was like no other. Like, I mean, the kids wanted to come to school.
Yes. Right. Yes.
I mean, it went from what? Come and just, it's like, oh, wait, they doing too good. They don't need to be doing that good. We need to snatch that away from them.
seems
That's
like
that's how the community
Yeah.
felt, so.
In addition to that, I don't mean to cut you off, but in addition to that, like I mentioned, Rodney Jones, I got a high level of respect for that brother, and he speaks facts. I've yet to have someone call him a liar, yet alone pull out facts or what have you or documentation to dispute his claims. So my thing is and it's not just LMA. Again, it was the graduation scandal. It was things I can't think of off the top of my head, but that's some of the reasons behind the distrust. And it's like, if we have all of this evidence of corruption and this and that, like, why is there nothing being done? Like,
Right.
This how we do? This how we do? And I'm gonna give you another example. You had Scott Hopes and Minor at one point in time, who was a part of the school board. They got into a little scuffle in the parking lot. you know, and one, it went to the link. So if I had my gun or something like that, well, I just kind of wonder what would have happened if a lowly old teacher's assistant like me would have gotten involved in an incident like that. I don't think I would have survived that.
Yeah.
You know, so when you got all of this going on, and it's like they you know, it's almost like they feel like they can do what they want to do, whether wrong or right, and we're gonna do it. And you community, you got to eat it.
There are just two things I'd like to say on this issue. The first one, back to LMA. If you'll know, the conversation we have about LMA is always about adults. It's about, shutting down the school, what the adults did or didn't do, and all of it. No one ever talked about the children, the school. I mean, in this whole board, all of that.
Right.
No one ever raised the impact on the kids, what it would mean to take their school away from them so close to the start of a school year, what impact that would have on the program. No one ever did, and that's one of the tragedies of this.
It was a lot of kids devastated.
And the other thing I want to say to you, because I know Amanda wants to get into this conversation,
She hasn't
and
had
I
a
have
chance to talk.
'cause I'll talk forever on this. But the other thing I want to say to you has to do with accountability. The graduation thing, that was flat out wrong. If you're an administrator in a school system, this is one of the things I would know. You know how you're supposed to count kids, and that's not how you do it. And my disappointment, to be mild about it, was that the board has never, ever publicly apologized to the community or even acknowledged that it was wrong and shouldn't have happened.
Absolutely.
And we want, and given the community a statement that said, we will make sure this never happens again.
Instead, we've been getting excuses from, well, she didn't know, or this is how it was done in Marion County, or I'm sorry. Go ahead, Miss Amanda.
Sure. So I agree. I agree completely
Amanda been waiting, boy. She been
Yeah,
waiting.
she ain't got a chance to talk
Go
yet.
ahead, Amanda.
Yes.
Go
I
ahead.
agree completely with Ms. Arguso that what happened at LMA is a complete travesty. I have a daughter who's about to start Manatee County schools, and I believe really strongly in parents' ability to choose the path for their kids' education. And so when we have a charter school and parents choose to send their kids there, the kids are doing well, there needs to be a really, really good reason to take that away. And it doesn't seem like that's what we had in this case. It was done hastily, it was done sloppily, and a lot of kids have suffered because of it. And then you had a lot more to your question. I will say, Mr. Jones, I do have respect for him as well. I've actually reached out to him several times and said, I'd love to have the opportunity to talk with you and find out your concerns about the community. And so if he's willing to take me up on that, I'm happy to do it.
Okay, but let me ask you something. Well,
Okay.
We're going to get away from this school
All right.
school board. So let's get to the community
I'm ready.
and the neighborhoods and stuff. Beautifications. Lighting on the roads, man.
So-
Some of our roads, some of our neighborhoods are very dark.
So let me tell you, I feel very, very, very strongly about this. So we're building a $25 million library out in Lakewood Ranch. $25 million. And we have reserves. We have 18% reserves in Manatee County. The most you can have is 20% that you can just kind of sit on. And yet we have roads and yards that flood with every rain in
Right
District
there.
2. The only road to get out of my neighborhood
Business 41.
floods so bad that you
Yeah.
couldn't get out for 5 years, and they finally fixed it. We have neighborhoods that don't have lights. We have neighborhoods that don't have sidewalks. And my question is why? Why hasn't it been fixed? Because that's a top priority for me. And I want to ensure that happens. And I think that the infrastructure in District 2 has not kept up with the rest of the county, not even close. So we've built out in Lakewood Ranch, we've built out in Parrish, and for the most part, with some exceptions, we have built the infrastructure that those areas need as it's been built. But yet, our areas have been completely ignored. And so it causes traffic problems for the entire county. So everyone is suffering due to people ignoring the urban core for the past 30 years.
And you know what? That's
Absolutely.
I heard you say a $25 million library in Lakewood Ranch.
Yeah.
We have a lot of abandoned buildings in the urban core.
We sure do.
We can change some of those buildings into a small library.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, utilize some of those buildings. I ride by the building. They got wood. They have wood windows and they abandoned. They
Yes.
like they're about to fall down.
Yes.
Some of those buildings can be used for like a small library, something like that.
Absolutely. I would love to see, to make it easier, is small people who want to build small neighborhoods or apartment buildings to rezone and be able to take some of those abandoned areas that are suffering and actually build them up and improve our community. So I live in Onico, and I see the exact same thing that you see in Palmetto. You know, I see the areas that have been abandoned. I see the flooding. I see the lack of lighting. I see people that want to have a place to gather in their neighborhood, and we just don't have it, and the county is not coming together to make those things happen. And I think that I can help to make those things happen, because I mean, we've had Charles, we've had Reggie, and neither of them has made those things happen. So I think it's time for something new.
So what do you say to the people that say, Amanda, man, she's from South Carolina, man, she's not from Manatee County, she's not from Bradenton, she really don't care, she's just doing whatever it takes to get in the seat. What do you say to those people?
So I do
Because
really.
people say that now, you know.
Of course I do.
Politics and stuff like that, you know, and because we're not the same color, we feel like you don't care, you know. That's just some of the gripes in the neighborhoods, you know, because we feel like we've been left behind so much.
Absolutely.
So much. So what are some of the things that you can do to convince the Manatee County to try to get into the urban core, to try to make some difference in this neighborhood?
So I can say with 100% certainty that if what you're looking for is somebody from the African American community, if that's what you want in your commissioner, I'm not going to be the person for you. But if you're looking for somebody who is going to represent everybody, who is going to work hard, who's going to have an open door policy, somebody who's smart, somebody who is going to be open to new ideas, open to listening to the community, I will be that person. And yes, I did grow up in South Carolina, but I'm completely committed to Bradenton. I'm completely committed to Manatee County. I'm completely committed to Palmetto. I have my kids here. I have my husband here. We're not going anywhere. You know, I can't help where I grew up. I moved here as soon as I could.
Yeah.
As soon as I got out of school, I was down here, and I hadn't left, and I'm not gonna.
God, Barbara, that was a great question. And
Can I
on the
tag
other
along on
hand,
that?
you sure can.
Just really quickly, same thing would apply to me. I did not grow up here. My husband and I chose to move here when we retired. As I said to you before, I don't need a job, okay? I am doing this because I believe in it, and I know I can make a difference for the kids here. And that's what I'm asking you to put your trust in me to do, because I believe it, and that's why I'm here.
God,
So are y'all
Barbara.
gonna make yourself available
Absolutely.
for people
sure.
to get contact, you know?
I've been walking this whole neighborhood, of course.
Yeah, you know,
Well-
sometimes, you know.
She said she got an open door policy.
Yeah, you know, but sometimes when they get in the seat, that door closed.
Well, everybody say that's what
Yeah,
that's a
don't close,
gamble
you
with
know.
everybody.
You
Then
know, before you get in the seat, I can call you. Hey, what's going on? When you get in the seat, I got to talk to a secretary. I got to talk to this person, that person, and it'd be 2 weeks later before I get in contact with you.
I was a
think
So y'all gonna be
superintendent.
available. Y'all gonna be available.
24/7, I was available as a
All right.
superintendent. I fully expect that's going to
All
what's
right.
going to
All
happen
right.
here.
I will be 100% available.
There you
I'm,
go.
Like I said before we
you
came
go.
on, I'm available to the
Yeah.
people I work for right now. I'm on call 24/7,
Some
so
questions.
I will be on call for the
Get
people
through
of
that.
Manatee County, for the people of District 2.
There you go.
Well, God, Barbara, you know what? That was a great point, and I can say too, playing devil's advocate, that not being here could be a good thing, because we often heard of the good old boy system.
Yeah.
So for somebody to, not kind of be immune from that, new blood could be. Well, that's here nor there. Before we get into questions, because the hood got questions. Speaking of the hood, that was, T Green's unique way of saying urban core, the hood. Presence in the hood is important. They just touched on that a little bit. And so, and I got to give a shout out to Junior Carter. What's up? TBT, milestone follower. He had a great question. And this was last week as well. He said, we need officials. It actually was a statement. It says, we need officials that are connected to and visible in the community. So I guess my question would be, what would be your response to someone that would say, look here, you're not from here. I don't know you. I haven't seen you. So how are you going to come in my hood and tell me what's best for my hood?
I'm not going to tell you what's best. I'm going to ask you what you think and what you need and what's not working for you.
Absolutely.
That's first. Second thing is, I've been literally walking this entire district. I've been all through Palmetto neighborhoods. We've been all through the area around 27th Street and 15th Street. Some of you saw me the other day. We were over in Onico for the block party to give away backpacks and food and things. I was part of that. I was at Manatee Elementary the other night serving hot dogs because I'm a member of Kiwanis and they were there doing that. So I've been going door to door and talking to people, and I've been walking streets, and I've been waving down cars with my card and getting people to roll down their windows and talking to them. And I've been asking people questions, and I've been answering their questions. And I've done it all over District 2, and I expect to continue doing things like that. One of the things I'm planning is to have meetings within the school, in the evening when parents can come or go to a park in a local neighborhood it's easier to get to. Hey, it's a beautiful afternoon. Come talk to me. Tell me what you're worried about, what you're thinking about. Are we doing well for you? Have we fixed the problem that we had when a couple of weeks ago you brought to us? Those kinds of things. So I will be out and about and accessible. And I got to tell you, the best part of running for this office is to get out and meet and talk to people. It is so exciting to do that.
Well, we hope that because, like, again, this is nothing personal. This is just me. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm Team POP. I'm gonna vote for, I don't care if you're white, black, green, the right person.
That's what I
So
appreciate.
now it sounds good, and it's like, yeah, this is good, and it's kind of good timing because it's done during election time. Like, who's not gonna get out and campaign and all that good stuff? But before we go to the hood got questions,
POP, you gonna let me hop in?
I was gonna say, you gonna let her talk. Y'all just taking over. Just leave it pulled up.
I'm getting
man,
excited. You know what threw me off though?
Y'all just
When she
taking over.
when she said she went to the block party, because I'm like, T Green, I told you she liked to listen to trap music. Go ahead, Miss Amanda. I'm sorry.
So I will say, I like Miss Arguso, or is it Dr. Arguso?
It's doctor, but I go by Susan as well.
Like Susan, I will say that I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know what's best for your neighborhood. I want to listen to what your concerns are, and I want to be responsive to those. But I will also say that I have, ever since I moved to town, I have been working with a lot of the most vulnerable populations in our county, and seeing kind of on the systemic level, what are the things that people are struggling with, what is happening and why. Right. And so I've seen, people that don't have any job training, people that don't have any skills. And I come from a family where my parents went through vocational training, and they had blue collar jobs, but they did very well for their families. And I want to see that in Manatee County, not just in the high schools. I want to see programs like that for people, 25 to 55 who feel left behind and who were
Exactly.
ignored by the school system. And so I've also been, I've been on the board with Feeding Empty Little Tummies up here in Palmetto as well. Mm-hmm. They feed over 1,000 kids every single week in Manatee County schools. And so to some extent, I think I have a handle on the things that people are struggling with, but I'm going to be absolutely open to learning what are the problems that people are having, and what are the ideas that you have to solve them.
Absolutely. All right. With that perfect segue.
Ready?
Hell, I better be ready.
Yes. All right, so we got some questions. I'm gonna try to get through a few of them, but I probably won't get through all of them because the hour is getting late. But one of the questions says, does Amanda Ballard have a plan to increase the economic development of the urban core?
Good question.
Absolutely. So again, that is a huge area of focus for me. I want to make it easier to start business and to do business in the urban core. So I, like you guys have been saying, I see buildings that are boarded up, that are abandoned. And I know that there are industrious people who are there who are wanting to build up and to create new businesses. But what we need to do is take barriers away to allow people to innovate. So instead of kind of putting up bureaucracy, putting up hurdles, we need to get government to scoot back and allow people to innovate and to do better in our community.
All right. It says, please ask them their plan for HUD Section 3 program in the District 2 so-called Black African American community, American Indian community.
So I think that I will say that, again, having worked in child welfare, this is something that I see again and again and again, is people who just cannot find a place that is safe and affordable where they can live and where they can have their children. And so many people are not even considering something like HUD as an option just because there's nothing. Like, the availability is just extremely, extremely low. And I mean, you're dealing, again, I'm not a big fan of bureaucracy, as you've heard, but with HUD, you're dealing with many levels of bureaucracy, so things are gonna move slow in trying to ramp that up and increase it. But I am on board for trying to improve the availability of HUD housing. Absolutely. Because there is a need for it.
Okay. What is Susan Arguso's statement on critical race theory and diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Both of those have caused so much misunderstanding and improper, just expecting that we're doing things in schools that just aren't proper, and that's not true. Critical race theory, I know, is something that started as part of the legal discussions in college courses. All right, it's not something we teach in the K-12 schools. It was never intended to be taught there, and I'm fine with that. But I am concerned about what we do teach in history, because we should be teaching real history. And I will say to you, it should be all of our history. It has to be the good stuff, the bad stuff, and the truly awful stuff. Our kids have to know where we came from, what got us here, the mistakes that were made, and also the progress we're making and how much further we still have to go. And I want to make sure that we teach real information to children. That we don't cut out stuff because I'm concerned about the piece that if they're uncomfortable. We have to be really careful about that, because when you're talking about slavery, everybody should be uncomfortable. So we will work this through, and we will make sure that happens, because the law says you teach it. So let's make sure we do it right and our kids get the correct information. For diversity, equity, and inclusion, look, we have an amazing population of people who come from all countries. They come from different areas. They speak different languages. They look different, like we do in this room. They're all part of our community. Every single one of them needs to be welcome in our schools, well respected, treated always as if they belong there, because they do. They are our children. And we have to make sure that they all have the same opportunities and the support so they can take advantage of those opportunities. Every kid needs to be able to graduate high school, and our job is to do what it takes to get the child there to do it. And so they have those opportunities. Then we have to do the third part. We have to make sure they're included in our schools because we have built the supports there, whatever it takes. If we need extra people in a classroom so there's small group instruction. Do we need to build a program so kids have a longer school day, and so their parents are working, they can hang out there and get more reading, but fun and enjoyable, get outside and run around, but also build those literacy skills, give them more time in school. So we do the diversity, the equity, the inclusion the way it was intended, that every single child is welcome, is treated respectfully, and is taught so they can excel.
Busing. And they say busing sucks in East Bradenton.
That's one way to describe it.
East Bradenton is the most bused neighborhood in Manatee County. Why do you bus kids out?
Because the schools aren't here. We've closed a lot of our schools. A lot of our programs are not here. This whole issue needs to be looked at. Where have we located our schools? Are those schools that are here in the core really successful? And if they're not, what can we do to make them better? Someone said to me, like Manatee Elementary, make it the best school so that children aren't being bused someplace else. Their parents want to choose to send them there.
Yeah.
And that's a part of choice that our kids don't have that they should have. A child should be able to choose the neighborhood school and know that they will get the best education there. This whole busing issue, we got to take a much better look at and really understand what we are doing, because we're spending too much of our time in traffic, moving kids out of their neighborhoods, away from their friends that they would see during the week, after school and on the weekends. That whole issue has to be really addressed. And we have to, again, fix the schools that are not working for kids so the kids can stay home.
Okay. I'm going to ask like 2 more questions because it's a lot. I'm not going to ask all of them, so I won't even ask what's her nationality. I don't even think that even matters. What exactly can be done to fix the infrastructure in D2? Born and raised here, and the flooding is getting worse instead of better. Still dark out too. She mentioned reserves, but what's in the current CIP and what can be done to ensure things change?
So I will say I know the flooding issues firsthand. I mentioned when we first moved into my neighborhood, there's one way in and one way out of my neighborhood to get to State Road 70. And you could not get out of my neighborhood in a car. You had to be driving an SUV or a truck. And finally, they put in a pump after about 5 or 6 years, and that has now fixed the problem so that the road only floods like halfway across instead of all the way in deep. And so I'm guessing that similar solutions could be implemented in other areas of the county. I think that also some of the sewers need to be upgraded to fix those issues. And really what I want to do, and I think that what makes me unique as a candidate, is that I have built relationships with current commissioners, and so day one I'm going to be able to work with them and get things done with them for the betterment of District 2 and the urban core, because I think that some of those relationships have been missing. So some of the things that maybe a District 2 commissioner would want to push for, they're not getting the buy-in from other commissioners. And I think that being in the same party, I think I'm going to have more of that buy-in.
Well,
it's a whole different feel east of I-75. There needs to be a whole paradigm shift in the planning and development sector as it relates to the opportunity zones. I don't know if that's just a statement or a question.
So I
think it's a statement that's basically saying on this
And
side
we
of
need
75.
we need a damn library down east.
You know,
yes.
It's kind of a good time to piggyback off of that, because I know you mentioned the flooding and this and that, and now you have semi-flooding, you know. Well, we don't want flooding. We don't want semi-flooding.
I don't
We
want
want-
flooding either, but
Like what's on the other side of 75,
Yes.
because when I'm on that
Yes.
side and it's raining, it's like the rain go down. Like, hell, ain't no damn flooding, you know.
I know
so
it's amazing.
like, what are we, so yeah, I just had to throw that in there.
Yeah, I mean, I lived my entire life in District 2, with the exception of driving out past 75 to go to church on Sundays. I live my life in District 2, so I see the problems in District 2 day after day after day.
And that was my question. I was going to ask both of you, how long have you been living in District 2?
So I was, sorry about that.
Okay.
So I've been living in my home where I live now. Now, I will say they redistricted, so technically I was in District 4 before, but I've been living in my area in Oneiko ever since I moved to town.
I've lived here for 7 years, but same thing, we got redistricted also, so, but.
Why-
Wait,
why
this,
she's-
this is a good conversation, man. We having, man, and
Yeah, I got a lot.
hey, man, I really appreciate y'all coming out to even sit down and talk with us. You know, and y'all not scared either, man. Y'all not scared. Y'all not scared, boy.
Nah, they not.
They up in here.
I wanted to why Cole's found another question. You got another question
Another
coming?
question,
I
go.
do. Just 1 second. They're saying we didn't catch something, so I'm trying to figure out what it is we missed that we didn't catch.
Well, while she's figuring it out, I just wanted to make this statement. I know you mentioned earlier about what we, the teaching and teaching about slavery, and we can't be afraid to do that. I'm all for that, because we got to understand the history, but I'm also for teaching our kids more of what we've done for this country.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And not just us blacks, but I'm speaking for my Latino La Familia as well, which I got to get to y'all later on to figure out, what's your plan as far as reaching and communicating with them and fighting for their rights as well. Because when you speak of urban core, I know we joke and say the hood, but, when I speak of, the hood, I'm speaking for all that's in the hood, and that goes for whites, black, Hispanics, all that good stuff. So
We have an obligation to make sure our children know their history. And that is, what are the contributions? And, I've come at this in my past life also from a woman's perspective, trying to prove that women could do science because I was a science person. It's the same, it's the same, all of our kids should see themselves in what we are teaching.
exactly.
The examples, and it should be across the board. It's not just in history class. It should be in science. It should be in English. They should be reading books that represent all of the people they see around them, as well as someone who looks like them.
Absolutely. And what made me think of that is, the recent passing of Bill Russell. I mentioned this last week.
Yes.
You ask the average kid, especially these age, who was Bill Russell, they don't know. And the very few that may know, they'll just say, oh, he might have played basketball. And that's it. But I'm learning, and I'm guilty of it. I'm learning that Bill Russell was more than just a basketball player. He did some stuff off the court that was amazing in regards to civil rights and all that good stuff. So, and serving his community. So, that type stuff is what we need to implement as well in our education, to teach our Latino population, our urban, our blacks, whoever that we've contributed majorly to this country, other than just slavery.
100%.
absolutely.
And I will also say that District 2 on the county commission side is now 30% Latino. So I mean, the Latino community in District 2 is huge, and those people have not been reached. Those people have for the most part been ignored. And so I am doing a lot of outreach, trying to reach those people, to let them know, what we can do on the local level. And I'm actually, so I speak some Spanish, but
Hablo español un poco.
un poquito. But so I've been actually taking, I wrote out a little letter in Spanish that I take around with me, so that if there is somebody that I can't fully communicate with, I can let them know a little bit about me, so that we can at least have that basis from the beginning of I'm here, I want to communicate with you. My Spanish is not going to be perfect, but I'm going to be out here, and I'm going to be, trying to understand what your needs are.
And that's, speaking of needs, they need more, and this is more educated. I'm speaking from the education part because I've been a part of it for 20 plus years. And I've noticed my Latino La Familia, they need more resources in the ESOL department. That support.
do. Oh,
It
yeah.
sucks to have those
Absolutely.
kids, some of those kids come to this country for the very first time or what have you, and they don't speak the language, and that's not fair. I dare some of you Americans who speak only English to be put in a country that you don't speak that language and you're forced to learn their academics and curriculum and all that stuff without their language. I dare you to do that. So
Yeah.
you got to put yourself in those shoes. I'm sorry,
Absolutely.
Coach
You're
Shell.
absolutely correct.
Coach Shell.
It says that she supports the majority commissioners that's causing all of these problems. That's the part that they said that we didn't catch, and that she said it out of her mouth.
I
trying
said
to
that
figure out
I
who-
said
I
that
didn't know what
I'm working
they was talking
that I've developed relationships with the current commissioners and will work with them to get things done for our community. Absolutely, and I have no shame about that because I think that it's to the benefit of District 2.
Well, what gives you the confidence that, like you're saying, you're developing the relationships? What gives you the confidence that relationship is real? What gives you the confidence that, because it's a vote, right?
Absolutely.
And you can feel a certain way, but if those other 4 vote against you, then you're pretty much shot down. Then now you kind of look like, oh, you just been, which, I get it. You can only do so much, but what gives you the confidence that rapport or those relationships that you claim you're developing with them
Sure.
are going to be effective?
Sure. So I think that where we're gonna have things that we come together on is gonna be the dislike of bureaucracy, trying to get rezoning done, trying to make it easier for business to get done in Manatee County. I think that we're gonna have broad agreement on getting things like that done, and I think that because of that, it's going to be to the benefit of District 2. And I mean, are there going to be some things that we're not all going to agree on? Of course. I mean, that's life. I mean, we're not always going to be voting as a block. I don't want to do that. I'm going to vote my conscience. I'm going to vote for what I believe is right for District. Have developed a good relationship with some of the commissioners. I do.
And then this other question said, I heard about the redistricting. Was that solely for them to be able to run for the district?
For me to be able to, absolutely not.
I don't think so.
Because I know at one point you said you was District 4,
Yes.
and then your district became District 2.
Yep.
Like, well, how big is District 2? I mean,
How long ago was it that
Yeah, what-
District 4 became District 2?
So the redistricting happened last year. So this past year. So every 10 years after the census, they have to do the redistricting. And so that's where we stand. And District 2 now, it's Palmetto, it's Southern Ellington, and then it's Bradenton, and it goes from Manatee Memorial Hospital east out to 75. And then it stretches down kind of like the top of an hourglass into Onico. And then it actually pulls out down to 63rd and goes all the way out to the Target.
Okay, because they're saying they just redrew the line, so she just became a D2 member.
I mean, there's a lot of people in D2 that just became a D2 member.
Yeah. And the thing I would say about that, because they did just draw the lines, and the lines for school district are different this time than from the lines that were drawn for the county commission. They're not the same. But because you live in a different district doesn't mean you don't understand the issue, or you lived in a different district than you do now. Doesn't mean you don't understand the issues that are facing the people there. As I've explained here, my experience comes from when I was a superintendent. I led a school district just like District 2, especially the urban core part of it. And so I understand these issues very well. And I've been out talking to people all over, making sure I really understand what the issues are specific to this area here. And when I'm a school board member, to go to different schools. There's a whole bunch of kids in Palmetto who are going off to Palmetto High School, which is not technically in District 2. There are other kids who are going to Braden River or places. They're not in District 2, but these are all our children, and we have to take care of them, and we will.
And I know
You
it's
said
getting
Palmetto
late.
High School isn't District 2?
Pardon me, Southeast High School is in District 2,
No,
Palmetto is not.
Palmetto, is it?
No, it is not. It is, District 2 ends at 8th Avenue in Palmetto.
Oh, but you know, I
And it
know,
goes all the way to 75 the other way, that way.
I know it's getting late, but I want to ask this question about the safety protocols in the schools now. You know, I want to get your outlook on the safety part when it's, you know, now they're saying they're trying to pass a law where the faculties can carry guns. Is that they talking about doing that now? So how do you feel about it? How do you feel about guns on the campus?
Absolutely not. And I will say that to you as a former teacher. When you're in a classroom with children, if you're really doing your job as a teacher, you cannot be sure that your gun, if it is accessible to
Yeah.
you, is safe from kids. And my biggest fear is that this idea someone has about increasing safety is actually going to do the opposite. Because kids are now going to get access to what was the teacher's gun. Because there's no way you can 100% secure that. The other thing is, a teacher's job, if there's an intruder, is to lock down that room and protect those children. They can't be stepping out in the hall to face an intruder. They have to their job is to take care of those kids. And I think it's it's going to create more problems than it ever has any possibility of fixing.
And the safety in the community, Manatee County. The policing. Some say it's not enough policing. They need to hire more policing. Is that an issue?
He's hot.
So I think that's a great question, and I think that we really I think that once I'm actually in there and can see firsthand, I think I'll have a better idea on that. I will say that I think that communities are safer when you do have the police out there. They have a presence. They're building community. They're actually in the community on the daily, having regular relationships with people rather than just, coming when there's emergency. That way people feel comfortable calling when something crazy does happen. The idea of the community policing model where people know they're police officers and they're there in the community when it's not a crazy, tense situation.
All right, this is going to be my last question because they have a lot of questions, obviously, in the comments. Are any of the county commissioners financially supporting you? I don't know. I'm just asking the question.
This is probably for Miss Amanda.
So are any of the county commissioners financially supporting me? I don't, does that mean, are they contributing to my campaign? I do believe that I've had a campaign contribution from current sitting commissioners. They're just like any other citizen. They can contribute to a campaign. But
I guess it has something to do with somebody's husband being a developer.
I don't know. I work full time. My husband works full time. I'm definitely not being supported by anybody other than my husband and myself.
Absolutely.
Can you all understand why you had the question? I want to go back to the question about how long have you been in District 2? Because we've been hoodwinked and fooled and told lies for so long that it always seems like, well, dang, here they go again, trying to throw something else in the cup. So it's like it goes back to the no trust, whether it's the school board or the county, like for instance, this new park they have here at Lincoln Park. Seeing the plans that they had, that Mr. Smith, had the budget for, and to get that compared to what's going in Lakewood Ranch and what's at GT Break, I don't even support it. Everybody else so gun ho about it, but people got bigger pools than that in their backyard.
No, I agree with you, and I do completely understand what you're saying, and I had nothing to do with the way that the lines were drawn. The shape of the district did change significantly, but I will say that Oneiko shares the same problems that the areas of the urban core have. I mean, we have those the same struggles, the same problems, you know, lack of infrastructure, lack of streetlights, flooding, lack of a place for the community to gather. We have all those same problems. So I think that it's not a stretch for that community to be a part of District 2, because I think that the concerns are shared.
What I would say to you is I was thinking of running for the board and had talked with some people last year and in the fall. When they changed the lines so that I now live in District 2, it was the best thing that could have happened because it matched me to the place where I need to be. District 2 is the place that I can best represent because of my background, my experience, my love for kids, and my belief that education is so critical for their future. It was the best thing that happened. It really was.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know, we're looking at my Gucci and looking at our bootleg production team, saying we gotta wrap it up. So, what we normally do? Are we gonna do shout outs first, or are we gonna do on the record?
So
But I do have one question. I just want to know, do one of y'all watch P-Valley?
I don't watch. I don't really.
You can answer that. You can actually just say you don't know what it is.
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Is it TV? I
Yeah,
don't really watch TV.
It's a show on TV.
It's a show on TV.
I don't even know
P-Valley.
what it is, to be honest with you.
So you guys don't watch P-Valley?
I don't watch P-Valley.
Okay, what about Chicago PD? Chicago Fire?
Do you know what? Do you know what I watch?
Grey's Anatomy.
I watch Bluey.
Grey's Anatomy.
You
Bluey.
heard.
It's like it's a
cos-
show about a family of
I
dogs.
watched
Oh.
Grey's Anatomy when
I
it
wa-
first came out.
I
but
watch-
No, not anymore.
I watch TV with my kids, and that's it.
Law and Order SVU.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I don't know then. I don't know. I don't know. Well, I'm not political. I'm TV original. So I was just trying to figure out personalities by the shows that you watch. In P-Valley, you need to watch it.
What does it
What's
come
it
It's
about?
with Uncle Clifford.
Don't watch P-Valley.
I might like P-Valley. You don't know.
Check it out.
Check it out then,
We will
Miss
check it
Amanda.
out.
Check it out, Miss.
I will do that.
You too, God Bobble.
Before we
I don't even know what P-Valley is.
You don't know. A whole lot. See this pole
Yeah.
down in the valley?
okay. Before we go to on the record, we got some shout outs. You got some shout outs. I want to get some shout outs to our TBT top fans. How about it? Because I had to write down some of the shout outs that I done got cut off on my shout outs for the past 2 weeks. So I'm going to give some shout outs. Shout out to Christina. You know why I love her? Not only is she a TBT follower, but she a diehard 49er fan. Yes, sir. Talk to me. Who got shout outs? Mai Wash, Tony George, Alton Lilly, Damon Poole, Clemsy Clem, Felicia Sump. These are TBT milestones now. Y'all ain't got to. Come on now. Y'all turn to get shout outs now. I can go on now.
That's all right.
Miss Tony.
What's happening? You got any more shout outs?
You got shout outs, Cole?
We're gonna wait till he gets through all.
Okay, well, I got-
We're not going back to you.
Okay, Stanley Crow Martin, 91st birthday. Happy.
Finish
And he's
all
a
the
living
calls.
legend. Anybody that knew Coach Crow from Lincoln?
Yes, sir.
Living legend, baby. Happy 91st birthday. Kitty boy.
It's still his birthday.
Well, it was, but y'all don't know what y'all production. I don't know if y'all cut me off or y'all got cut off or you froze, you modem.
Every month, huh?
Hey, I gotta make sure y'all understand.
Okay.
And I want to give a shout out to
Okay, that's why we see. That's why he going first, and that's it.
941 native Sarasota Riverview alumni, Indiana U alumni, current Denver Bronco, soon to be 49er Jamar Johnson, giving back to the hood. Shout out and to the Johnson family. Shout out to Hal Graham Jr. R.I.P. That was a tough one for the hood. Shout out to all the Boys Club, alumni, Rogers Project. That was a tough one, though.
Yeah.
That was a tough one.
You done?
Even if I ain't, I'm going to say what I got to say. So you better get your shout outs in.
Shout out to our guests for coming on the show. Shout out to my family, my kids. Me looking good for 40 with a 22-year-old and a 10-year-old. Also, shout out to the kids. I'm from Pinellas County, so shout out to Pound County. We won't have these type of problems in Pinellas County. You know, it's weird over here.
Y'all just burn stuff down over there in Pinellas
we
County.
burn shit down. Well, I flip all this shit. Yeah, that's what we do.
Well,
Shout out to us, Pinellas County. We going back to school. Shout out to all our baby daddy kids that's going back to school Wednesday. Yeah, back.
okay. Speaking
And shout out to my daddy, Pastor Roosevelt Watkins, Shining Light Church of God in Christ in Robonia, Florida, and my brother, Pastor Dominic Watkins, Freedom Church of Tampa in Tampa, Florida. Hey, man, and me, the old sinner. Go ahead, Brian.
Speaking of red, white, and blue, I want to give a shout out to FAU football,
What the
Coach T.
freak? Y'all gotta stop that. Y'all gotta stop that.
Go Owls.
Go, Brian.
Miss Susan, Miss Amanda, I want to thank you all for coming out, being a part of TBT. Big shout out to my family. My condolences out to the Green family, the loss of my Aunt Dot today. Shout out, Heart with you, Auntie Sylvia, Robert, Drina. Big shout out to my grandmother. Whole 941. Love y'all.
I want to give a shout out to my wife and my kids and the whole 941 community.
Oh, one more.
Wow.
Big shout out to my nephew, AJ So Raw. Boy,
Man.
that boy got off Saturday. Boy, y'all missed it, TBT. Nephew. Hey, boy, don't forget about your uncle, boy. Don't forget about your uncle, boy.
Whatever.
And I
Y'all
want to
got a
give
shout
a,
out?
I want to give a shout out to allowing the guests to give them their own shout outs.
All right.
Who would you like to give?
I want to give a shout out to my husband who's in Scottsdale, Arizona at a conference tonight, but I'm sure he's probably watching anyway because he's good like that.
Hey, tell him to
And-
subscribe.
Oh, I will. and my two babies at home and Miss Christina, their babysitter.
All right.
I was just finna say, who watching your baby daddy kids?
I'll give a shout out to my husband, but also to all of the students who are going back to school. It is exciting, and I wish you all the absolute most wonderful school year.
Shout out to all the parents who glad them bums and bumettes are going back to school.
Yes.
Ain't no shout out to that traffic.
Oh yeah, that thing finna get busy.
Man, drop
Shout
your
out to my
kids off.
daughter, man. Glad to see my two grandsons, man.
Predator.
Love y'all. Can't wait to see y'all again.
I guess
Drop y'all kids off the Wednesday and go. Don't at that car circle. All them hugs and kisses do that at the house over cereal. Drop your kids off and go, cause I'll be ready to go back home and get in my bed. I'll be holding up the car circle.
are we done real?
We
See, I'm gonna be
done.
holding up the car circle.
We
'cause I
can't
got a
even do on the
kindergartner.
record.
Yeah, see, you got the park. You got the park and get out. Mine in 5th grade. Boop. See you in a few hours.
All right, well, Miss Dr. Susan, Miss Amanda, we appreciate your time for coming on TBT. And as usual, when you come on TBT, you are
On the record.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much for having us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
What's up, TBT? Is this your boy P.O.P., a.k.a. The Experience, and I'm encouraging all of you that's involved in relationships, whether you're married or not, if you have any relationship problems or you need any advice, hit the love scientists up on Truth Be Told at truthbetold2021@gmail.com. And you already know them boys' motto on the love scientists. The love scientists. Well, we done fucked up enough relationships to know what not to do.
Darling, don't stay away too long. Pretty baby. Hey, look here, man. This is the Godfather, man. This is the Godfather from TBT. Man, we need y'all to check us out, man. Check us out on Facebook. Hit that like button on Facebook. I think it's a like button, man. I'm old, man, but I think it's a like button. And go to YouTube and hit that subscribe button. And there's also a bell on that thing, too, I think, man. Ring that bell, man. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. Ring that bell, baby. It's the Godfather, baby. We ready. Pump this thing up. TVT. Let's go.